Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Ooh, lucky bug.
Are you being sarcastic or something, Martin?
Fool, you should never mix your drinks.
What, are you retarded?
We'll have to take this abuse much longer.
You're a fool! You're a fool! You're a fool!
Oh, that's what we call diarrhea.
You think this is a fucking joke? This ain't Kenny camera. There's no hidden cameras.
Oh shit, I've said fuck. Oh fuck, I've said shit.
Don't be an arse. Get a weapon collector, arse.
I could knock him out in the shed. Are you kidding me? That is crazy.
I'm pissed off. I'm sad. I'm ashamed.
Stop it, please. For God's sake, please stop it. There's no more time.
Is this not why you are here?
Right everyone, Weapon Collector here. Right, this is going to be the first video of my new film club, Weapon Collector's Film Club. So, what this will be a weekly video, hopefully every Sunday, where I watch a video, a film, and then you have a week to watch it as well. So, although this one you wouldn't have time to watch, stop this video now. Go and watch this film, which is The Evil Dead, the original one. Then come back from now, and then you can discuss it with me. So that is what we'll do. So watch The Evil Dead, come back, and then we'll discuss it and talk about it. And yeah, and then at the end of this, I'll tell you what next week's video will be, so you'll have a week to watch it. So yeah, Evil Dead. So an old zombie classic, really. Part of the what in the UK we called the video nasties. There was a lot of films that was banned, and I'll be honest with you, I find a lot of the video nasties are actually quite rubbish. Evil Dead is one of the rare ones that is actually a very good film. If you get this on DVD or Blu-ray, I recommend listening to the audio commentaries as well. They're very good for the Evil Dead. Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell doing separate commentaries where they sort of take the piss out of each other. Very, very funny. So, yeah, with The Evil Dead, I think it's 82 minutes runtime or something like that. Not very long. It's not a long film. Not quite full length, if you know what I mean. 90 minutes. But well worth watching. There's a low-budget horror if you've never seen it. You can call them zombies. They are people who have been brought back from the dead, but they're really possessed by demons. The whole premise of the film is two couples and one of those couples' male's sister, so 5 of them going up to a cabin for a weekend, spend a bit of time, find a tape and some other stuff in the basement, which then unleashes these demons, Deadites they're called. I don't think they ever mentioned Deadites in Evil Dead 1 though, who then possess the characters, who gradually become living dead type things, zombies. Extremely gory, yeah, but very well made for what it is, for sort of low budget. Not much for one-liners in it. I was going to tell you some of my favourite parts. So the funniest part for me is probably Linda getting her head chopped off, and instead of me showing a clip, I've done my own little remake for it. So there you go, there was Linda, or should I say Zombert, getting her head cut off. The worst bit of acting in the entire film is Shelley screaming when they're just about to get hit by the truck. That bit makes me laugh every single time. Yeah, but because it's bad. The scariest bit I would probably say was always the woods, Cheryl's woods scene when she's being chased, and then the attack. I always thought that was quite an intense, scary bit. And then my favourite overall bits, I think, are the stab in the ankle with the pencil and then the twist and the break. I always liked that. I always thought that was a really good effect, that was. Because that's the kind of bit that everyone sort of cringes at. You know what I mean? Yeah, and Linda's transformation is quite good. When she, when her ankle does go all funny and then she opens her eyes and they're all white. Yeah, that's quite good. I'll tell you something I've always liked about Evil Dead as well. The mocking that the demons do. You don't see that in a lot of films, but they really take the piss and mock and wind the living characters up with the crying and the oh, don't hurt me, don't hurt me. You know, that kind of stuff. I always find that sort of fascinating because that's what stops Ash and that killing them sometimes with Scotty. You know, yeah. Overall, a quite tense film. Good scary, some good jump bits. It's got some good fake jumps as well, where you think it's going to be a jump and then it's not. I do like that. But yeah, very good gore as well. I like there's some strange angles in it as well, where it's deliberately holding the camera to the side. So, my favourite weapons, let's go over those. So, you got the shotgun. You've seen the spade. That's the only spade I've got that I want to bring in my room. And then you've also got the chainsaw. But sadly the chainsaw never gets used, does it? So my favourite weapon would probably be a shotgun, I think. Single barrel shotgun. Yeah, one of the other gory bits I really like is Shelley biting her hand off. I always thought that was good. So yeah, overall, very good film. If you've never seen The Evil Dead, highly recommended. The whole entire series, everything related to The Evil Dead in lines of the films are very good, and the TV series, Ash vs. The Evil Dead, is probably more gory than the films. Ash J. Williams, always liked him as a character. Yeah, good music, good direction, you know, considering they had barely any money and all that. So, yeah, very well put together for what they had. And listen to those audio commentaries, because there's a hell of a lot of detail in those commentaries that is very, very interesting. Yeah, it sort of starts off a bit corny. I always thought that, you know, with that bit of, the bit in the car is a bit not very well acted, but then you don't expect brilliant acting from, you know, I think that was most of their first acting jobs. Apart from Bruce Campbell, I don't think many of the others have really done much acting since. I know they've done a little bit, because I've seen Linda, I think, in Tim and Eric's Awesome Show, great job doing a little sketch of that. Yeah, very good film. I really like it. Highly recommended. Right, so next week's film will be Leon. To try and get a copy of that before next Sunday. So I will, if I can find links to this anywhere that are showing it on YouTube or something, I'll add those to the description to have a look. So yeah, you've got a week to watch Leon. I won't tell you anything about it. You know, you can always read up about it anyway. But yeah, Leon next week. And also there will be a poll on this video for when I pick the film after this. I'll pick the genre, because one thing I will do, each time I do a genre, the next film won't be that one. So we've had a horror. This one I'll call it a crime thriller type film. Possibly even in the gangster sort of line. The film after will not be in that category or horror. It'll be something completely different, and then eventually horror will come back. So you've got a week to watch Leon. Don't forget to do the poll for next week's, the week after this, genre of film. Alright, hope you enjoyed the video, hope you join in, have a discussion about The Evil Dead. See you later. Right everyone, Weapon Collector here. Right, today's film club video is about Leon. So this is just a general discussion about the film. Hopefully you've watched it and enjoyed it, and now we'll have a talk about it. Right, so if you have never seen Leon before, it's a sort of gangster hitman type film revolving around a Italian hitman, quite a quiet man, who gets sort of mixed up with a child and a DEA officer, you know, and that kind of stuff. It was made in 1994 by Luc Besson, 106 minutes long. Very, very good film. The actual plot is the little girl Matilda, who's played by Natalie Portman. Her family is basically, I think the mum seems like she's a prostitute, the dad's a drug dealer, get involved with these corrupt DEA officers who end up murdering them, and then she ends up getting rescued by Leon, living with him, and then she sort of finds out he's a hitman, wants to then get revenge on the DEA officers with his help, but he doesn't want to really. Well, he never says he does anyway, but you know, if you've watched it, you'll know, and hopefully you have watched it. Because this isn't a review, this is a discussion. And then gets caught, he rescues her, police come after him, the DEA, you know, and then you get the climactic end. So yeah, but I've watched this many times, always really liked it. Got good music, very good acting. All of the characters are great. You love the people you're supposed to love. You hate the people you're supposed to hate. Jean Reno, person who plays Leon, very good. I've always liked everything he's been in, actually. Same as Natalie Portman, same as Gary Oldman. And Danny Aiello, wherever you say his name, the Italian Tony in it, which is Leon's sort of handler, as they call them. He's good. All of those characters are very good in this. I like the intros to each character. As soon as you see the intro to each of the characters in the film, you get a taste for them straight away. So Leon, you know when Leon comes into that scene when he's taking out all the bodyguards in the apartment block. Yeah, that's amazing. So you get Leon's character straight away, you know who he is, you know he's quite quiet, but very professional. And then you get Matilda's character, who, you know, straight away sat there smoking, however old she is, what is she, 12 or something? I don't think you're used to smoke about that age, so I can sort of relate to that. But yeah, you can tell she's from a neglected family straight away, you know, bruising on her face and stuff like that. So, oh, and then you get Gary Oldman's character, the policeman. You know, he's a complete cunt in it, basically, and you really do hate him in it. But that's a testament to his acting, because I think if an actor can make you really, really hate them, they must be pretty good at acting. Yeah, and then you get Tony, the handler. I like all of the scenes with Tony, and I find really interesting, because you get a little insight into Leon's background, but not really a lot. I'd love to know more about Leon's background. You know, what was he doing in Italy? Why did he have to come over here due to something with a woman? Yeah, very interesting. There's a lot that's not told, but I don't think it needs to be told. A lot of films go into too much detail now, you know, in a way. You don't need to know those things. You can make them up in your head, and I think sometimes that makes things more interesting. You imagine what Leon would have been doing before, what caused him to come over to America. So, my favourite scenes, nearly all the action scenes, all of the action scenes in Leon are amazing. Great music, tension, it makes you very emotional, because, you know, most of the action scenes are him protecting a child, basically. You know, we can all understand that. You know, most adults would want to protect a child. When he rescues her from the DEA office, that I find is hilarious. When he goes in and punches the policeman in the face, and the cup spins round. That's the other thing Luc Besson does really well in his films. Really good action, but also really good comedy. There's a lot of funny bits in this film. You find yourself laughing a lot, getting an adrenaline rush, very emotional. You know, there's a very sad bit. You get the whole sort of gambit of emotions in this film. Makes you cry, makes you laugh. You know, you feel for the characters as well. Matilda, her character's quite interesting because I don't know if you've ever known anyone like that, but I've known at least one person, a similar character to that, as in a child who acts like an adult. If you've ever experienced that, it's quite odd. But I used to know a bloke who, he was like the youngest of the family, but they was always in trouble, you know, in that prison and that. And so he grew up very fast, and by the time he was like 12, he was acting like a 20-year-old, you know, or older, because of always hanging around with older people. Quite fascinating, really. But it sort of, you feel sorry for them, though, because they've not had a childhood. Spoilt it, really. Yeah, a real shame when that happens, actually. So, I would say Leon, when I first watched it, has definitely had an influence on me, because I actually grow plants. Probably down to watching Leon. I've got my own plants, and I'm pretty sure, well, there's two reasons I grow plants now. One, because I used to try, when I was a teenager, growing marijuana plants. But also, I'm pretty sure I grow plants to this day due to watching Leon and his relationship with his plant. Yeah, I've got some plants. I've got some on the windowsill out there. Down in my conservatory, I've got a citrus tree. I say citrus tree because I don't know whether it's a lemon, a lime, a tangerine, or whatever now. I can't remember, I've had it so long. I've never had any fruit on it yet. But yeah, I grow my own plants, and I'm sure that's down to Leon. So yeah, the actual film itself, very well made. I love all the characters in it. I would highly recommend it. The end is very sad when Leon dies, but I always love the fact that he does get that cunt in the end, though. Yeah, and he says, "This is from Matilda," and then when he opens his hand, when Gary Oldman opens his hand, he's got the grenade pin in his hand. Yeah, that is a sort of bittersweet ending, at least, because you know at least he's got the bastard. Yeah. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Leon. I really enjoyed it. Well worth watching. So now we've had a discussion about it, or now that I've told you about what I think of it, let me know what you think of it. Let me know what your favourite bits are. Yeah. What you thought of it. What you thought of the music and all that. Favourite parts. Don't forget to do the poll. If you're on a phone, if you click on the picture and a round circle with an exclamation or an I in it will come up, the letter I will come up, and then you can do a poll for not next week but the week after's video, because next week's will be a science fiction film. So you can vote for the one after that. And yeah, that's it basically. Alright, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to comment, like and all that. And I hope you enjoyed this series. Alright, see you later. Oh, alright everyone, Weapon Collector here. Right, today's film review is about The Blob. So, hopefully you've watched this by now, and we can have a talk about it. So, The Blob is a remake of I think it's a 1950s film, possibly of Steve McQueen. I've never actually seen the original, although I would like to. And I may have to do that one day. So the remake is 1988, partly written by Frank Darabont, which was a surprise to me. I didn't actually know that. 135 minutes long, and is a Chuck Russell film. Now I'm unaware of other Chuck Russell films, but I may have to look into that, see what other ones there are, because The Blob is actually a really good film. So it stars Kevin Dillon and Shawnee Smith, playing the two main characters. I'll tell you the plot. So the two main characters are, you got Meg, who is the sort of homecoming queen type, head cheerleader type, but not a sort of slaggy one, if you know what I mean, like a posh one. And then you've got Kevin Dillon as Brian Flagg, who is the sort of tearaway, local sort of troublemaker, probably been expelled from school or a dropout or something like that. And then there's also another character who's like the local jock. And a meteor hits, Tramp finds it while he's flattening some cans, and goes to see what's inside the meteor and gets the blob on his hand, and then he sort of gets taken over by it, and then the rest of the film is sort of people being killed by the blob, obviously, and Brian and Meg trying to stop it. But yeah, I think this was quite a panned film originally, but it's turned into a cult classic. I've always loved it. I've always thought it was brilliant. And I'll tell you one thing, I think some of the special effects in this film are probably nearly on par to some of the special effects you see in The Thing. Saying about The Thing, the other thing I like about The Blob, the opening titles are quite similar to The Thing as well. But yeah, it's a good classic 1980s horror, sci-fi horror. What I like about the older style films is you actually like the characters. You know, all of the characters you're supposed to like, you like. I can remember the very first time I saw the end of The Blob, when you think Brian's possibly going to die, and the scene with Meg in the sewers when she can't get through the bars. I can actually remember the first time I ever watched it and being, oh no, fucking hell, I hope they don't die. Do you know what I mean? You know, because I really like those characters, and you actually do care about them, which is what I like. Makes a change to actually, well, it doesn't make a change, but that's the thing with the older films. You do tend to know who you're supposed to like and who you're not supposed to like, whereas a lot of new films, it can be a bit of both. It can be, you know, you don't know who you're supposed to like and stuff like that. My favourite scene, the one I've always loved in this, and not a massive part of it, but it does lead up to something else, is the very first, the intro to Brian Flagg on his motorbike when he's trying to do the jump. Because when he jumps and then the tramp claps him when he's on the floor, clapping him, I've always found that absolutely hilarious, that bit. It makes me laugh out loud, that does. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. I always laugh at that. But then that's leading up to a bit later when he actually does do the jump, and then when he makes the jump and he turns around and goes, as he's riding off. I love that bit. The condom scene is very funny as well. That one always makes me laugh. When his mate's going to get the condom, and then he starts talking to Meg's dad and saying, well, you know, you would have watched it anyway. But yeah, that's a very good scene, that bit. Very funny. This does have some good comedy in it. And the bit with Matey in the car with his bloody cocktail bar in his trunk, or his boot as we would call it. Yeah, that is funny. And I think the girl in that is Donna D'Erico in it from Baywatch, I think, later. That made me laugh, that scene, because it's funny watching these films from the 80s and that, what was deemed, well, that wasn't deemed acceptable, but you probably wouldn't, if you saw a scene like that, that was shown innocently, the sort of putting his hand in the top bit, if you know what I mean. Nowadays, that would be a proper crime that you would potentially get done for, although he died anyway. The effects in that bit are very good. But yeah, the people who did the special effects in this film did a very good job on the majority of them. I do think a lot of it does compare to not totally, but it does come, some of it comes close to the thing. But yeah, overall, very enjoyable film. As I said, you like the characters in it, good pacing. I can't think of any boring bits in it. You really like the characters. Yeah, it's one of those I've always liked. So I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I always have. That's partly why I wanted to do this film club, to introduce people to some films that they may not have seen. But yeah, The Blob is way up there with some of my favourites, definitely. So let me know what some of your favourite scenes were. As I said, definitely had a lot of good gore, lots of funny bits, sad bits, but yeah, special effects are good, aren't they? Yeah, I don't think there's any. The music's quite good. There are a couple of scenes in it that are the effects aren't brilliant. I think that's mostly the ones where they've had to make the blob big, so they've had to have like a bit of blob close to the camera and do a forced perspective thing. But it doesn't look bad. Yeah, overall, I've always really liked the blob. Yeah, well worth watching. So, as I said, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll let you know what the next film is coming up in a minute. So, don't forget to discuss this. Don't forget to like the video, and I'm going to have to sort my hand out, I reckon. Right everyone, Web Collector here. Right, this is today's film club, Jeremiah Johnson. By the way, before we start, look up in the corner of this video and make sure you do the poll to next week's video to see what category we pick, and at the very end of the video will be next week's film. So now we'll get down to the discussion. So today's film was Jeremiah Johnson, which is a 1972 Western, but not your sort of conventional Western. More of a mountains man type Western, I would say. Based on a true story, actually, or loosely based on a true story. Livery in Johnson, Jeremiah John Livery in Johnson, I think his name was a real person. Probably had more of a fucked up life than the Jeremiah Johnson in the film. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, because obviously this is about discussing the films. So yeah, personally, Jeremiah Johnson is one of my all-time favourite westerns. Would be in my top 5, top 10 easily. Yeah, really good. So it's a 1972 western starring Robert Redford, Will Greer, which is is it Grandad? I don't know if they call him Grandad in the Waltons anyway, but the Grandad and the Waltons anyway. Grandpa Walton, isn't it? That's it. Directed by Sidney Pollack, who I'm unaware of his other films, but I may have seen his other stuff without knowing it. The film is 111 minutes, or an hour and 51 minutes, and to be honest, I don't think there's a boring moment in the entire film, really. If you don't count the interlude, the beginning bit, the intermission or whatever. whatever it was, the overture. But there's nothing wrong with that. That's to set the mood, I think. But I think some people may find that bit a bit boring. But it's just a bit of music. You can skip that. But other than that, yeah. So the basic story to Jeremiah Johnson is Jeremiah Johnson sort of wants to leave normal civilization, go and become a mountain man. And then his sort of trials and tribulations of what happens when he's out there. The first encounter with Bear Claw is quite funny as well. I like when he starts to learn all the new stuff, and Bear Claw pretty much just lets him make his own mistakes, doesn't he, all the time? And yeah, but he does. He just lets him do it, doesn't he? And waits, just lets him get on with it and tell him what to do. But if he's making a mistake, lets him do it anyway, because that's how you learn. I think you learn a lot quicker that way. You know. I don't think you should let people hurt themselves per se, but you know, you should learn from your mistakes, and that's what Jeremiah does, doesn't he? Because I tell you what, this has a lot of good comedy, doesn't it? I hope you found this funny, because there's a lot of funny bits in this. It's not a comedy, not at all, but it's yeah, it does have some good funny bits, very poignant bits that make you cry. Honestly, you know, I'm not ashamed to say that. You know, it's partly down to the good story, good directing, good acting, and very good music. It's music that sets the tone to, you know, make you feel these things most of the time. Yeah, some good action as well, because this is only a PG, but, you know, there are violent deaths in it, and some really good fight scenes, which I'll get to later. But yeah, so the basic story is he goes up to the mountains, meets various characters, meets Bear Claw, meets Delview, buried in the sand up to his neck, shaves his head so he don't get scalped. He's a bit of a bastard, and he's sort, you know, although Jeremiah takes him as a friend still, you could understand if he didn't want anything to do with him, because partly some of the bad stuff that happens to him is partly down to Delview, isn't it? But he doesn't seem to mind. He still has stuff to do with him, don't he? Yeah, he ends up rescuing the boy. I thought when I was playing God of War recently, the kid in that kept getting called the boy, or boy, and I kept thinking I've heard that before. It's from Jeremiah Johnson. Yeah, and then he gets his wife, his Indian wife, and then gets forced into taking the soldiers through the Indian burial ground, and that sort of when he has to start fighting them constantly. And you imagine having to do that. Imagine having to, because he's lucky, like Delview said. You know, if it was different Indians, they would have just sent 50 after you at the same time to kill you. He's lucky it was one at a time. But you imagine having to fight to the death every time you saw an Indian. You know, that would start making you go a bit mental, I think. But he refuses to give up. And he sort of beats him in the end, don't he? You know, or they come to a truce anyway. I love the end, because he's ready again. Every time he sees him, he's instantly ready to fight him to the death. And yeah, and he's still not sure when paints his horse red. He's holding his hand up, is he? Yeah. So yeah, and then that's how it ends. But yeah, I would highly recommend you reading the Wikipedia to Jeremiah Johnson, the real person, because this is based on 2 books, and those books are based on a real bloke whose his life sounds just as mad, and maybe madder than the film. So yeah, I like the montage scenes as well. There's some good montage scenes in this. It's classic old style directing, where you don't need long drawn out scenes to explain things. All you need is short montages showing, you know, like when Jeremiah first meets the other Indians, the Flatheads, and he's smoking the peace pipe with them. You know, that's all you need to know. You don't need to know more than that. That explains everything. Yeah, so Sidney Pollock, I've heard of him before, but as I said, I've never seen any of his films that I know of. Yeah, very good music. I don't know who the music was by, although I recognise the name. I'll put that in an annotation, but yeah. Some of the bits, there's, you know, favourite bits to this, I don't know, the fighting bits. There's lots of good bits, because all the comedies, sort of, not the comedy bits, but the funny bits are really good. There's loads of good bits on this. Nearly every encounter is something unusual and sort of special. I do like the fact that the hunting, the trapping, and the skinning is realistic in this as well. If you've ever done any of that kind of stuff, you'll see that this is quite realistic to what you would be doing, you know, when they're scraping the hides and stuff like that. So, but yeah, really good film. I hope you enjoyed it, because I absolutely love this film. That's why I partly recommended it, because I think people would absolutely love this film. You know, you instantly think the PG would be any good. Yeah, it is though, isn't it? Yeah, very good. Yeah, Robert Redford doing some good acting in this. I must admit, I've not seen a lot of Robert Redford films in my life, but I really like him in this. So yeah, as I said, I hope you enjoyed this, because, you know, I highly rate Jeremiah Johnson. It's one of my favourite westerns and one of my favourite films, to be honest. So yeah, don't forget to check out the poll to vote for next week's video, and don't forget to check out the end of the video to see what next week's film will be. Alright? What's your top knot? See you later.
There's warmth and fire. Do you not wish to warm yourself by my fire?
Right everyone, Weapon Collector here. Right, this is Weapon Collector's Film Club. So today's video is Conan the Barbarian. Before I go any further, don't forget to click the poll above to pick the category for next week's film category, and don't forget to watch till the end to find out what next week's film is. So yeah, so this week's film was Conan the Barbarian. You saw a little bit of an opener there. Arnold Schwarzenegger film from 1981. It's written by John Milius, I think it was, and Oliver Stone, which that surprised me. I didn't know this was written by Oliver Stone. Originally, the Conan stuff is originally from Robert E. Howard. Again, I don't know the stuff to the original Conan stuff, but I imagine it's probably pretty good. Yeah, I certainly do like this film anyway. So I'll go through a quick synopsis and then we'll start talking about it. So it's about Conan. It starts off with him as a child. His family gets killed. He becomes a slave, then a gladiator, then a thief, and meets up with these other really good characters as well. Goes on a bit of a revenge mission. Finally gets his revenge at the end. But yeah, overall, very good story, I think. Well written story. Arnie's doing his usual acting, which is nothing special, but if you like Arnie, you'll like most of his film anyway. This is a good film anyway. I don't think it would have mattered really who was in the starring role, you know, as long as it had someone big and muscly to be the Conan character. As for all the other characters, I like all the characters in this, all the goodies anyway. Sandahl Bergman, if that's how you say her name, she's absolutely beautiful in this. She's beautiful, strong, really good character as well. Subotai, his little mate, and all that. Yeah, and the wizard. But they're all really good characters. You like all of them lot. And again, you hate the main baddies as well. Really good special effects in this as well. The snake's really good. Good bit of gore, you know, heads being chopped off. One thing this did remind me of, I never really thought about it till today when I was watching it, but the Doom cult, Falsa Doom's death cult, did remind me of some of the modern day death cults we get today, quite similar. But then they're all based on the same thing anyway. You know, any sort of real life death cults that are going around the world are all from thousands of years ago anyway. You know, they've not really fucking evolved, have they? So I won't get into that anyway. But yeah, this has very good narration as well. I like a film to have a good bit of narration, a good narrator. Partly why I like the film 300, that has a good narrator in it. The acting, most of the acting is nothing special in it, but again, it doesn't really matter in this. This isn't about the acting, it's more about the theatrics, the special effects, the fighting. Loads of really good weapons in this as well. Pretty much any sort of medieval weapon you can think of is in this film. There's swords, warhammers, axes, no end of different swords, really cool armour. Yeah, lots of really good stuff. The very first beheading scene's quite shocking as well. I know most of us may have seen this quite a few times, but let me know what you thought of that when Conan's mother is killed. I think the first time, if you've never seen that before, I think that bit's quite shocking because you at first don't actually know what's happening, do you? You don't know she's beheaded, I don't think. You see the body fall away. But yeah, very good opening scenes as well. That whole entire section's really good. One thing I was going to say is about the old Conan sword, because I know some people have a bit of a funny thing about the sword because they're pouring molten metal into like a mould sort of thing. But I think that's just for theatrics really, and I think if you think about when this film was made in the 1980s, 1981 in particular, there wouldn't have been many people know that's not how swords made. It's only with the internet and YouTube and that nearly everybody now who can have access to that kind of thing will know, you know, and looks into it, will know that that's not how you'd make a sword. So I think in those days you wouldn't have known, and it wouldn't have sort of, I don't think it spoils it anyway. They're in a sort of fantasy world, maybe in their world that's how they make swords, and maybe that's how it, you know, maybe that's deliberate, maybe that's why the sword breaks later on. You know what I mean? But that's a discussion in its own right, I think. I'll tell you what my favourite scenes were. Definitely I forgot actually. This film probably has one of my all-time favourite scenes in any funny scenes in any film actually. So I like the witch scene. That's quite funny, but that's not the one. So the witch scene's very good. The giant's tomb, I like that. That's a good bit when he first gets his sword. That's a good scene. But my all-time favourite scene is when him and Subutai are high on Lotus and Conan knocks out a camel with one punch. I've always found that bit absolutely hilarious. Brilliant scene that is. Yeah, really funny. So yeah, overall, very good film. If you've never seen Conan, I hope you enjoyed this, Conan the Barbarian. There is Conan the Destroyer as well, which is, it's a good film in its own right, I think. Not quite as good as this one, but it's worth watching. But yeah, Conan, brilliant music, good direction, good characters, yeah, an overall very good story. And I'll be honest, I wish they'd made more of them, rather than just the two. So yeah, let me know what you think, because I know a lot of you would have seen this. There was a HD version you could have watched. Again, I'll put that in the description if you want, or go back to the Jeremiah Johnson one, it'll be in there. So you can still watch it if you want to discuss this with us. But yeah, classic 80s Arnie film, but very good really. Yeah, I especially like the fight scenes, and it's got a lot of good body parts, you know, coming off and spurting blood. I do like that. But yeah, yes, that's it really. That's about as much as I can say. Now it's down to you. I won't have a discussion with you. Let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to do the poll, and don't forget to watch to the very end to find out what next week's video will be. Right? I hope you enjoyed the video. See you later. Right everyone, Weapon Collector here. Right, this is Weapon Collector's Film Club and today's film is Bottom Live Stage Show. So before we start, don't forget to look up there and do the poll for next week's video, and don't forget to watch to the very end of this video to see what the next week's film is to watch. So today's film was Bottom Live Stage Show. And it will include the Bottom series as well, although I haven't watched it, we'll be talking about that as well. So yeah, if you've never watched Bottom, you're missing out on a bit of a treat there. As one of my catchphrases goes, everyone loves a bit of Bottom. But yeah, if you have never actually seen Bottom, it's a English TV series from the 90s, maybe late 80s, starring Rick Mayall and Adrian Edmondson. And is an adult comedy based around wanking, booze, sex, suicide and violence basically. So yeah, if you like that kind of stuff, you'll like Bottom. But yeah, so why I chose the live stage show, I thought it'd be better for us to watch that. You can watch it a bit quicker, you know what I mean? But yeah, I've always liked the stage shows. The first one's the best, you know, and the second one's good as well, the third one's not quite as good, and then I think there's another one possibly, there's possibly 4. But yeah, they're all worth watching, they are a very good laugh. Good slapstick comedy, as I said, very good violence. Some of the bits I like, well actually I'll tell you the plot to the live stage show. So pretty much just revolves around them. Actually, there's not a lot of story to it really. Get up, get pissed, talk about having a wank. Richie gets his sex doll stuck to his knob, gets his knob cut off, finds out he's 15 grand in debt. Eddie decides to con him out of the 15 grand because he thinks it's owed to him instead of owed to someone else. You know, owed to Richie instead of to the solicitors, and then they kill themselves at the end basically. So yeah, that's about it really. But some of my favourite jokes in this, I like you know when he's trying, I don't know why it always makes me laugh, but these kind of jokes always make me laugh. When he's trying to pull the cornflakes out of the box and then he grabs his groin area because he's giving himself a hernia. I don't know why, that always makes me laugh, and I do that one myself sometimes. You know, if you're lifting something up and then pretend you've got a hernia afterwards. Spitting out the teeth is another good one. That always cracks me up. Then you've got all of the violence. All of the violence is good in this. They do. Those two are very clever with the violence they do, because it's hard to pull it off on live stage. And obviously, if you're recording these kind of things, it's a lot easier. But if you're trying to do it live and make it look good, that's hard. So you can tell the talent those two have got. Over the years, I've probably watched this over at least 20 times as well. Because we used to have it on VHS, and I got my copy, or me and Mount got our copy from in the late 80s, early 90s. You used to be able to get sets of videos, sets of VHS, where it was buy one get 9 free, basically. And you didn't have to pay until you got the videos. So so obviously in 1993 I would have been 13. So any time before that, you know, even then I shouldn't have been getting these things. But they had no way of checking, you know, typical how it was in those days. We used to just send the thing off, get the videos, and then never pay for them. Whether my mum and dad used to get letters saying you owed money or not, saying that I think they did. I don't know whether they ever paid them, because, you know, obviously they're two 12-year-olds, or however old we were when this came out was, you know, getting them. So yeah, we got loads of videos doing that. We've got a whole video collection. Stealing them basically. I do like that they say the word cunt in this as well. I do love a comedy. I do love a comedy when they say cunt, as long as it's not overused. One cunt in a comedy, when it surprises you, is always good, I think. Yeah, there's a cunt in it. The mugging scene is good. That always cracks me up. And he mugs himself for the money. Thinks he's made like 15 quid out of it. And then the fighting with the bra. I think most of us have had that happen to us at least once. Not for sex doll, but yeah. We've all had the struggle of trying to get a bra off, I think. Or if you haven't, trust me, you will. And then the old classic from, there's a joke in it from The Young Ones, when he's whacking Richie in the bollocks with the cricket bat. And he says, "Missed both my legs." That is actually in The Young Ones. So yeah, if you liked the live series, the live stage show, get the DVDs. I think there's 2 series, possibly 3. They're well worth watching. And then there's at least 3 or 4 live stage shows. Then you've got all the other things these two have done, like The Young Ones, and although I've not watched it yet, there's a thing called Filthy Rich and Cat Flap, which I've never watched yet, but I want to. Yeah. But yeah, bottom live stage shows are really, really good, well worth watching. Really well written, really good violent and sex jokes in it, you know, wanking jokes, full of wanking jokes, isn't it? Yeah. Right, yeah, so that's it. That's our discussion. Don't forget to join in with the discussion. Let me know what you think of this. You know, I've always been a fan of those two and the other people they work with. So don't forget to do the poll above, and then next will be the film for next week's film club. Alright, see you later. Anyone seen the bog roll? Right everyone, Weapon Collector here. Right, this is Weapon Collector's Film Club. So before I carry on, don't forget to vote for the next category for the next video. Be up there, and don't forget to watch till the end to find out what the next film will be for the Film Club. So, today's film was Who Dares Wins. And if you're anything like me, a bit of a SAS obsessive, you should like that. Done in the 1980s, can't remember when it was, 1982 possibly. I'll put an annotation for that, I forgot to write that down. Starring Lewis Collins, who, as far as I'm aware, actually did qualify for the SAS reservists once. So he would sort of know what he was doing a bit. So The film revolves around a SAS colonel, I think it was, or captain, who had to make it look like he was sacked from the SAS to infiltrate a terrorist group who are trying to... They're anti-nukes, basically. But their way of being anti-nukes is to nuke a... They basically take over an American embassy, I think. And then they want to drop a nuclear bomb onto the Scottish nuclear base or something like that. And he has to go along pretending he's with them. Yeah, and then the storming at the end. And I'll be honest, that last scene, not the scene, but the last sequence, the two rescues basically. There's a part when they have to rescue Skellen's wife and daughter, which is happening at the same time as the SAS are going to storm the US Embassy. And you have to wait an hour and 50 minutes for those sequences, but I think they're well worth it. What I like about them, they actually have a lot of actual real techniques that actually do go on. Because this was pretty much based off the Iranian embassy siege, Operation Nimrod, I think it was called. If you don't know about that, I highly recommend looking that up, because that was what made the modern day SAS, the anti-terrorists SAS, famous. Because the SAS have been famous for a while, but this made them world, you know, the anti-terrorist ones, 22 SAS or whatever it is, famous. And that's quite a very interesting story on its own. Yeah, this film, about an hour and 15, 2 hours, yeah, 2 hours long, very good, has some bits of Hereford and the killing houses. I love the killing houses, very interesting that, where they train, and I've read stuff about the SAS, I've read books and watched documentaries about them, and all that is real, what you see in that. Probably worse than that as well, what they do in real life. And they do actually do that sitting at the table with people coming in, actually shooting live rounds pretty much around your head. Yeah, so very daring. Well, the SAS is sort of the best of the best anyway. You don't get into the SAS unless you've... you have to be in the army anyway. And then you have to be selected for it, and then you go through a massive, grueling test to get actually into it, which they do show a little bit of in this. Yeah, Lewis Collins, if you know who Lewis Collins is, you should like him. He's a good actor. Normally does these kind of roles, a sort of action man role. Yeah, very good. I like some of the fight scenes in this as well. I noticed on my DVD, they're on the DVD for that, the cursor, when you move it around, is Fairbairn starts fighting knife. Yeah, I did like that. And one of the other bits I really enjoyed in this is the Morse code bit, when he's doing the mirror out of the window. Yeah, I love bits like that. And then they get the other SAS bloke to come in, and they're signalling each other. Yeah, do like all that. That's real as well. I'm not saying that's happened, but that, you know, you could do that. If you can read and send Morse code, you could communicate that easily through it. So I can't read it. I could read it very slowly, but only certain bits. But not on that, but you know what I mean. I know what an S is and an O is. Yeah, if you've never seen this, I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. And if this has now spurred you on to watch some more SAS things, I highly recommend watching anything about the SAS, even right down to the World War II stuff, when the SAS was born, you know, up until modern day. But pretty much every conflict that goes on, the SAS will be there doing something, whether we know or not. But yeah, very, very, very interesting. Yeah. So, yeah, let me know what you think. We'll have a little discussion about this. I guess I'll have to go and watch 6 Days now, if that's what it's called. That is the film that's brought out recently about the Iranian embassy, wasn't it? The ones you don't hear about a lot. There was the main lot that went in the front, John McAleese and Robin Horsfall and that, and then there was some that went in the back, I think, who aren't quite as well known. So yeah, I will watch that soon as well. There's a couple of SAS things I haven't watched as well. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. there it is. Well worth watching. It's a good sort of action film anyway. If you like the SAS, you would really like this. And I'll tell you what, doing that bit of shooting with the crossbow, although a crossbow is very slow compared to an MP5, trying to shoot a crossbow, pistol crossbow, with gloves on, body armour on, and a gas mask, really gave me an appreciation for what the actual SAS do. It's hard enough doing that not under pressure. But yeah, they are well trained in it. So yeah, I quite enjoyed it actually. It was well worth doing that. It was certainly an experience. Yeah, it can be done, but yeah, it would take training to do good and fast, I think. Right, so don't forget to do the poll, and at the end of this video will be next week's film. Right, I hope you enjoyed it. See you later. Right everyone, Weapon Collector here. Right, this is Weapon Collector's Film Club. So today's film is 10 to Midnight. If you haven't already watched it, stop this video, look in the description, there's a link to watch it online.
I'll do anything for you.
How you doing, Mr. Kessler?
Enjoying yourself? I am. I told you what a dirty shit you are.
Now the whole world knows.
Right. What's the matter? Cat got your tongue?
To forgive is divine, they say. But I don't aspire to being an angel. Know what I mean?
You tried to kill me, I owe you for that. And I always try and pay what I owe.
Be seeing you, Mr. Kessler.
Likewise, Mr. Stacy.
Don't shoot! Get back! Get away! You can't punish me! I'm sick! One day I'll get out! One day they'll get out! That's the law! That's the law! That's the law! And I'll be back! I'll be back!
No, you won't. Right, everyone, Weapon Collector here. Right, this is Weapon Collector's Film Club. So, today's film is 10 to Midnight. I hope you enjoyed my little intro and remake of the film. Took quite a while to film that, or edit it anyway. So, I would just say, before I go any further, don't forget to look up in the corner here somewhere to vote for next week's category. And watch till the end for the next film for the film club. Right, so yeah, 10 to Midnight. So it's a 1983 Charles Bronson cop thriller type film, similar on the same vein to sort of Death Wish. Not as good as Death Wish. I'll admit this isn't the best film I've ever seen, but it's certainly memorable. I've always remembered this. The end scenes to this are quite memorable, I think. Yeah, May have been because I watched it when I was about 12, I think, and because there's quite a lot of nudity in this as well. So anyway, so the basic plot is Charles Bronson as a policeman, detective, on the hunt for a serial killer who goes around murdering women while naked. He's quite clever, the killer. He goes into cinemas and creates a scene, sneaks out through the window, does the murders, come back, and then talks to the people again, apologises. So it looks like he was at the cinema all the time. So yeah, there's this nutter bloke. One thing I found interesting about this film, you know who the killer is pretty much from the beginning. Goes around killing people with a butterfly knife or a ballad song, which is, they've literally just been banned in this country to own now. So if you don't know that, there's a bit of news for you. But anyway, the reason I mentioned that because I was going to have a ballad song in my video, you know, as Zombie using it, but I can't because I can't own them anymore. So yeah, he goes around killing people with a butterfly knife, killing women, and I noticed most of the women seem to be slags. Typical 80s film this is. Quite a lot of nudity. Yeah, so he gets into, the detective is trying to catch him. Charles Bronson's character finds out who it is. He pretty much knows who it is, but can't quite get him on it. So he decides to frame him, plant evidence. But it backfires when his new partner does the right thing and says, I can't be questioned and lie. So Charles Bronson's character in the end just admits it. The killer gets off, Charles Bronson's character gets fired, and then it almost switches round then. So it's then, instead of the stalker stalking women, it's now Charles Bronson's character, Leo Kessler, stalking the killer, telling him what he's going to do, ringing him up and that. But at the same time, the killer is now after Leo Kessler's daughter, the detective's daughter. Yeah, and then he gets him in the end. Very good ending, as I said. I think, I don't know about you, but if this is the first time you've watched it, did you find the end quite shocking? The whole part when he goes into the apartment killing the women is quite shocking, I think. Maybe tame in nowadays telly, but it certainly wasn't then, I don't think. Pretty good music as well, tense music, especially that end running scene when she's running away from the killer and meets up with her father. Yeah, and then he does his little rant, and then Leo shoots him in the head, and yeah, always, and then it ends. That's it, just a panning away scene of them with the police cars around. But I always thought that was a very, very good ending. I'll admit the acting's not brilliant on this. Yeah, well, Charles Bronson's never been known for, you know, a super actor anyway, but he's good. You know, you like him. He's good at doing that kind of thing. But yeah, there was one bit that made me laugh out loud. Just a weird bit. I was just watching it, and there's a bit where at the funeral, and Leo Kessler and the other detective are just about to talk to his daughter. One of the extras stands right in front of the camera. That just made me laugh because I thought that was a terrible bit of directing, you know. It may have been on purpose, but yeah, it made me laugh. But yeah, very, very good film though. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Certainly something a bit different, quite a good story. As I said, not brilliant. It's not the most amazing film you ever see, but it's memorable. I always remembered 10 to Midnight. Always been a fan of Charles Bronson. But yeah, that end bit when he shoots him in the head, it shocks you, I think. So I hope that shocked you as well, and I hope you enjoyed it. So yeah, not really a lot to talk about on this one, other than that, because as I said, there's not a lot to this one. But yeah, well worth watching. So right, yeah, don't forget to look at the poll to vote for next week's category, and watch till the end to see what next week's film is. Right, I hope you enjoyed 10 to Midnight, because it's always been one of those that's been in my memory for that ending and that last murder spree scene. Always quite memorable, I think. Right, hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to check out the links and all that. See you later. Right everyone, Weapon Collector here. Right, this is my film club, and today's film is Hardcore Henry. Right, so that was my little tribute to Hardcore Henry. I hope you enjoyed it. Before I carry on, don't forget to do the poll above to pick next week's category, film category. Right. So Hardcore Henry, it's a Russian-American film, part Russian, part American film. 136 minutes long, made in 2015 by Ilya Neshala, I think his name is. I'll put an annotation for that. But yeah, it's basically a sci-fi action film. Not normally my kind of film. I like sci-fi. I'm not really into action films, but there's something special about Hardcore Henry. I really enjoyed it. To be honest, I even knew from the very first little intro bit that I would like it. The music, those slow-mo scenes during the sort of opening credits. Really, really good scenes are. So the main character is Henry, and it's filmed. Basically, you see the whole film through his eyes, basically. So you never really get to see Henry. You see a little bit of his face near the end in a sort of broken mirror. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure the character of Henry is played by an actual parkour stuntman. And then the only other two sort of famous actors in the whole entire film are Sholto Copley from I think it's District 19, is it District 13? I can't remember now. That's a good film though. But I've always liked Sholto Copley. I think he's a good actor. And then Tim Roth for a little bit as the dad. But yeah, the other actors may be famous in Russia. I don't know, but yeah, so not an overall big cast. But it's well done. What I like about Hardcore Henry, it's intense. I remember actually thinking, after I watched it, it's exhilarating, and I actually remember thinking, that was fucking wonderful, that was. I loved that. Because it just, the whole entire film just keeps you going for the whole entire thing. As soon as the action starts going, it's relentless. But it doesn't get too much, if you know what I mean. Has some really good gore. That bit where the bloke's head gets shot off when Henry's trying to get the bloke's heart, that is very, very reminiscent of Bad Taste. If you've ever seen Bad Taste, there's pretty much a head been shot off like that, exactly like there in that. So maybe that's a influence from that. The whole film was filmed with GoPros as well, which is very clever and shows what you can do with a GoPro, really. Yeah, well, the bloke who did Henry, like I said, is a parkour stuntman, so he's doing all the stuff himself. And I think the film was influenced by the director's own music videos. I think he did some music videos. He's got a band called Biting Elbows, I think it is. And the videos that it's based on is Bad Motherfucker and Stampede. I've seen Bad Motherfucker, I don't think I've seen Stampede though. But when you watch Bad Motherfucker, you can see the influence on Hardcore Henry. Yeah, I like the mystery element to it. So the mystery, the action, and then the sort of revenge. I like, you know, I love a film with a bit of sort of revenge in it. Bit of sort of romance as well. There's a lot of funny bits in this as well, I thought. Quite a funny film. All of the Jimmy characters are good as well. I like that they're all English. He puts on a different English accent for each character as well, which is quite good. But yeah, the Jimmy character is great. He's very funny. I like the World War II Jimmy, the sniper Jimmy, the punk Jimmy. I don't know, I like them all, to be honest. Yeah, good. It's a good character, that. So although Hardcore Henry hasn't got much of a story per se, he's not got a massively written story. It is just literally finding out who's trying to kill him, you know, blah blah blah. But I don't think it needs a massive story. That was one complaint I've seen people say. Not enough story, not enough. But I don't think it needs it. That's not what Hardcore Henry is about. Hardcore Henry is pure action. It's like watching a computer game almost, you know, a real life computer game. Weirdly enough, I've had dreams like Hardcore Henry as well, where we're constantly fighting people. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I hope you did too. Hardcore Henry also has my 3 favourite things in. It had extreme gore. I do love anything where a head has been chopped off and thrown about. I love that. It had a single cunt in it as well. I love it when Jimmy shouts, "Akan is a cunt." That just cracked me up. And then lastly, it had a song in it. So yeah, I do like anything that has a single cunt, a surprise cunt, extreme gore, and at least one song in it. And this had all of them. Yeah, overall, very good film, I thought. I think it was Shed Ninja on YouTube who introduced me to Hardcore Henry, and I'm very glad. So if you're watching this, mate, thank you. Yeah, now I've been able to share with other people. But yeah, I think it's an excellent film. You know, not a massive story to it, but it doesn't need it. It's pure action. As soon as it starts going, it doesn't let up for the whole entire hour and 36 minutes. It just gets better and better. The end fight is good. I like that bit when Don't Stop Me Now kicks in. That's a good bit. Yeah, and there's overall good music in this. It has a bit of everything. I think it has some sort of techno, sort of Russian kind of music. It has a bit of Queen in it. Yeah, and then lastly, the effects. It had some very good special effects in this, I thought. Simple, but well done. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, because I really liked Hardcore Henry. I think it was a great film. They're talking about doing a sequel, but I'm not holding out for that. But yeah, it'd be good if they did. But it doesn't need it. It's a good enough film on its own. It doesn't really need a sequel. You can keep watching that back and still see bits you didn't see, I think. There's enough going on. Right, so that's the end of today's film club. Don't forget to watch till the very end. Do the poll for next week's category, and watch till the very end of this one to see next week's film, or next time's film anyway, I don't quite get to do them every week. Alright, I hope you enjoyed the video. See you later. Right everyone, Weapon Collector here. Right, this is Weapon Collector's Film Club, and today's film is The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. So before I get started, look up above, there should be a poll to vote for next week's category, and then we'll get down to it. So yeah, Terry Gilliam's The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. If you've never seen this, I think you're missing out on a classic really. Made in 1988, and as far as I'm aware this was quite panned when it originally came out, which is a shame really. I don't think it got many people watching it. But yeah, they missed out really, I think, because it's well worth watching. As I said, if you've never seen this, it is a sort of fantasy film. I'm not sure if it's based on other things. As far as I'm aware, I think I'll read you the back of it quickly. It says, Baron Munchausen, just who is he? Liar, rogue, madman, or the greatest superhero ever to battle and triumph against unbeatable odds? Did he really ride through the air on a cannonball, slay a three-headed griffin, journey to the moon, and all before breakfast? Helped and hindered by a sporting cast of literally thousands, including Vulcan, Oliver Reed, Berthold, Eric Idle, and many more, the indomitable Baron, played by John Neville, succeeds in overcoming every obstacle to face his final greatest challenge, death itself. So the Baron, yeah, is he a liar or is it all the truth? So the story starts off with a play about him basically, while a battle is going on. I think it's somewhere in France, I can't remember what it said now. Might have said Vienna, I may be wrong about that though. During the 18th century, so this big battle's going on, and while they're doing a play on Baron Munchausen, making out, you know, sort of a bullshitter, he turns up, very elderly, saying no, this is all lies, and then starts to tell the story himself, and then that becomes the film. So he's got these, I think it's 3 friends. So there's Eric Idle's character, Berthold, who can run extremely fast, like thousands of miles an hour. There's the little midget bloke who can hear anything pretty much and blow out masses of air. The very big strong man who is very strong. And then you get his other friend who has very good eyesight and he can shoot, I think they said that he can shoot a bullseye from 1,000 miles away, or halfway across the world anyway. So with the help of those, oh, and his horse and his dog, he goes on all these really magnificent adventures. Goes to the moon, he's inside a volcano with the god Vulcan and the goddess Venus, played by Uma Thurman and Oliver Reed. But yeah, if you like Terry Gilliam's films, I'm pretty sure you would absolutely love this. It's typical Terry Gilliam special effects. You know, if you like his special effects, you'll like this. Very funny, it is a comedy. Some of my favourite bits are the very first bit where they have to wake up Berthold. After Berthold's been told to go and get the bottle of wine, he falls asleep. That little sequence where the first time you see all their sort of powers. Because when Berthold runs, he actually tears the ground up. Yeah, and then they have to work out where he is because he's fallen asleep. So they work out where he is, and then one of them has to listen to where he is, tell the other one where what the wind direction is, and he shoots an apple off a tree to hit him on the head and wake him up. I like that bit. Another one of my favourite bits is the bit with the Baron holding on to the cannonballs, puts the mortar in, flies off, and then he comes riding back on it. The human organ bit is very funny as well, with the you know, every time the Sultan, I suppose, presses the buttons, it's stabbing people. I'm sure I've seen something similar to that on something else, but that is a very good scene. Something I didn't know till now was the little girl in it. I like the little girl, she's a good character. That is Sarah Polley from the remake of Dawn of the Dead. So yeah, if you didn't know that, that surprised me. I found that out after watching this, but I remembered I knew that before anyway, because what it was, after I watched this last time, I think I looked it up. Because quite often you get these child actors who only do one film and they never do anything else again. So yeah, Sarah Polley from remake of Dawn of the Dead, that's the little girl. Yeah, the blind executioner is funny as well, I do like that. Imagine having a blind executioner. Yeah, overall, if you like a bit of fantasy, if you like a bit of Terry Gilliam, I would highly recommend this film. I've always loved it. Makes you laugh, makes you cry a bit. It's very funny, exhilarating. You like all the characters in this. The ones you're supposed to like, you really. The ones you're supposed to hate, you do hate. So, yeah. PG, but it does have a little bit of, does have someone having their head cut off. Oh, that bit. Oh, God, I just remember probably my favourite bit of the whole film. One of them, anyway. Made me properly laugh out loud as well. Near the end, when the Baron is running along with his, on the back of the horse with his sword, cutting off those people's heads. Cuts off about 5 or 6 heads, just going along on his horse like that. Yeah, absolutely love that bit. Yeah, has some good actors in. Oliver Reed's in this, Uma Thurman, Eric Idle, yeah, and many more. There's quite, you'll see quite a few reasonably big names in this. Quite a lot of English actors and actresses. Yeah, oh, Robin Williams is in it as well. Yeah, you let me know what you think. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. It's a very good story. Pity that it didn't get as much people watching when it originally came out, because it was well worth watching. Has a bit of a sort of twist end, but not, you know, I don't want to spoil it. Sort of twist, but sort of not. And it's never fully explained in a way. Maybe if there was other stories, they would explain it more. But it doesn't really matter. You tell me, you explain the end to me if you can. Because yeah, it's not 100% obvious, but yeah, I don't really think it makes a difference. So yeah, that was it really. Not a lot I can really say to this one, apart from how much I like it and what was in it, and I hope you watched it, because that's what this film comes about really, is trying to get you to watch it. So yeah, The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, highly recommended. So before you go, don't forget to vote for next week's category, and also watch to the very end to find out what the next film is. Alright? I hope you enjoyed the video. See you later. Right everyone, Web Collector here. Right, this is my film club, and today's film is The Book of Eli. Right, so that little intro was courtesy of Videobase. I hope you enjoyed it. So before I go any further, don't forget to look above for the poll for next week's category, and don't forget to watch to the very end to see what next week's film is. So yeah, Book of Eli. From around 2010, it's 2 hours long, post-apocalyptic thriller type film, I suppose. Not a thriller, I don't know what you'd call it, shoot 'em up kind of, I don't know. Bit of a mystery to it. It could cover quite a few genres, I suppose. Yeah, and overall it's quite good. This month's film, week's film, is this is a film I've never seen before. So this may be a slightly different sort of review or discussion than normal. Yeah, overall I liked the film. I'll discuss it properly in a second. So I did like it. I'm not really into the religious element of it, but that didn't really spoil it or anything. 2 hours long, so yeah, just about right. You know, some films can be a lot longer if they're very good. Some films need to be shorter if they're not so good. Two hours for this was just about right, I thought. Starred Denzel Washington and Gary Oldman, so two quite good actors in there, and had quite a few English actors. I noticed some of the henchmen was English. Michael Gambon and whoever his wife was, those was both English or British anyway. And one of my favourite actors was in this for about 2 minutes. Malcolm McDowell. Yeah, I was gutted that he was only in that for about 2 minutes. Yeah, I must admit, I'll tell you what, it was good seeing Gambon with an M16 though, and swearing. That was quite funny. So yeah, overall, I did enjoy it. The visuals was very nice for this film. Quite unusual. You don't see films with the sort of colour palette of this film, but it's to set the tone, isn't it? The post-apocalyptic tone, and I thought it was very well done. Good music as well. Yeah, the music was very good for the tense bits, the emotional bits, stuff like that. Yeah, certainly enjoyed those aspects of it. So, what were some of my favourite bits? The first encounter was good, I quite like that. The silhouette down the tunnel of him killing them all, that was very good. Most of the fight scenes was very good. Lots of heads being chopped off and stuff like that, but not overall gory. Most of it was use your imagination type stuff. I don't know what rating this would be. I would imagine it's a 15 without actually checking. So, the general story, if you haven't seen this, it's about, I won't say too much because although this video will contain spoilers, I'll try not to fully spoil it for you, if that makes sense. Because you're supposed to watch this and come back and discuss it with me. So, basically Eli is trying to take a Bible to the West after being told by God or a voice in his head that that's what he needs to do. And on his travels he's been told that nothing will be able to stop him and he'll be able to do it. God will protect him, and you know, and he believes that, and that's what he does. On the way he encounters various people going around killing people and stuff like that, and then he goes to the town and then encounters Gary Oldman's character, who basically wants the Bible for his own means, because all of the Bibles and possibly books have been destroyed during the war that caused the sort of apocalypse. I'm not 100% sure if it was all of the books. There's a bit in it where he says that, so that's the basic story anyway, but there's a bit in it that he says that these books, now I don't know if he means books in general or the Bibles, was blamed for the Great War that caused the apocalypse, caused a hole to rip open in the sky and for the sun to be able to come down. You know, it's basically the ozone layer, I suppose, isn't it? So yeah, I think it's open to interpretation, really. I don't know. Does he mean all books? Does he just mean Bible? Because in that case, you could interpret the film in a different way, I found. Being new to this film, I took it that if he meant just the Bibles, that would then mean potentially it was some kind of religious war. I'm going to twist it in quite a way now. So, if it was Bibles and religious books that caused this war, all of those books was destroyed. So him bringing back that Bible could be a bad thing, really. But that's not how it goes down in the end anyway. It turns out it's slightly different in the end. So it was interesting, the parts where, see, Gary Oldman's character, he wants the Bible to control people, and Eli wants it to, I suppose, free people in a way, you know. Because you're unaware why he's trying to get this book to the West. You know, that's all you know. He wants to get it to the West for some reason. You have no idea why, really. I always assumed that, I assumed wrongly, he was just trying to get to a place where there were people to preach this Bible to them. But that's not the case. Yeah. I'll tell you another one of my favourite scenes. I did like the bit with when Mila Kunis, I can't remember her name in the actual film, when she chucks the grenade under the van and it explodes. It shows a good side-on view of the van blowing up. I thought that was very good, nice directed scene that was. Yeah, overall, quite unusual, bit different to your usual post-apocalyptic films. As I said, the religious element to me didn't really ruin it. It was, you know, it was there, but, you know, it didn't really take too much away from it or throw it in your face too much, if that makes sense. He was just a man with a purpose. That purpose was to get this book to, well, I'll spoil it now. What turns out is to get it to these people who are trying to bring back all books. So they've been collecting all these books so that they can reintroduce them to people, because none of the people who have been born after the apocalypse have ever read books because they was all destroyed. So it's that, really. It's not to preach the Bible, it's to bring the Bible to this place where there are none. There's loads of other books, they've got all the other books. But yeah, I thought it was very good in the end. Is Eli blind, though? That's something I wasn't sure about at the end. Because he's reading a Braille Bible, isn't he? Now, I don't mean you have to be blind to read that, but it did make me think, has he been blind the whole entire time then? It never says whether he is or isn't. I'll have to read something about that in a minute. But yeah, I was interested in that. Because there are points, every time he goes into a fight, you see him go like this. Like he's looking at them all. Maybe he's listening for them, I don't know. Yeah, I may be completely wrong about this. But yeah, that did make me wonder. Right, yeah, there it is. I hope you watch this and discuss it with me. Let me know what you think about the film. You know, I certainly did like it. I hope you liked Video Base's intro as well. He made that for me. And yeah, thank you for those who recommended the Book of Eli, specifically Iron Man Spartan. Cheers, mate. I did enjoy it. And I think I definitely will watch it again down the line. So, don't forget to do the poll above to pick next week's film. And also don't forget to watch to the very end to see what next week's film is. Alright, I hope you enjoyed the video. Yeah, go and watch Book of Eli now and go and discuss it with me in the comments below. Alright, see you later. Right everyone, Reggie here. This is my brother Ronnie. This is our review of the film Legend. Right, for those who don't know, this is Weapon Collector's Film Club. The film today is Legend. This is the first time I watched it, actually, saying that. First impressions, I did quite like it. I am a big fan of the original Craze film as well, but we'll discuss that and everything else as we go along. So, Legend, starring Tom Hardy, Christopher Eccleston, the bird in it, I can't remember her name, and some other, you know, there's some few more famous people in it. 2 hours 6 minutes long, and it was made in 2015. So, what did I think of it? I'll tell you what, I did enjoy it, put it that way. But I do think I preferred the original, as I said. I'll tell you what I did like about it. Like, Tom Hardy, he is a very good actor, and he does very well in this, I think. Yeah, he does make the two characters different enough that you can easily tell them apart, if that makes sense. It'd be very easy for someone playing two characters to be very samey, whereas these are not. You know, you can tell the difference easily between Reggie and Ronnie, even just by looks as well. So there was that. The fight scenes was pretty good, although I would have liked to have seen more. They was quite stylised, but not in a way I disliked. I do like, if you're going to have sort of gangster sort of fights, they've got to be realistic. The problem is a lot of films nowadays, they go a bit too trained in the fighting, and it doesn't look like real fighting, if that makes sense. Especially what would look like fighting in the 60s anyway. You know, everyone nowadays knows a bit of fucking martial arts or bloody MMA, but in them days that wasn't a thing, so you wouldn't have seen that. So the fight scenes in this are quite good. Good bit of violence, but I'll be honest with you, I would have preferred more. The music, I did like the incidental music they did in this. The only thing I didn't like, now other people my age might have this issue as well. The problem when you watch anything 60s, if it has real 60s music in it, it starts to sound like Heartbeat. This is a fucking nightmare in all honesty. If you're trying to watch a serious gangster film and every time they play 60s music it makes you think of Heartbeat. If you don't know what Heartbeat is, look it up. You do not want a gangster film making you think of Heartbeat. So yeah, as I said, overall I did like it. The acting was good, the pacing was good and that, and it was a good film, but I do prefer the original. Yeah, so some of the things I disliked about the film, the relationship between the two Cray twins I didn't really like that much, and I found I actually preferred Ronnie a lot more than Reggie, and being a twin I believe their relationship wouldn't have been like that film. I may be completely wrong about this, but I've got a feeling that the person who directed this and wrote this has no real experience on what the relationships of twins are like. If you're a twin, identical twin, the Cray twins were identical twins, I'm an identical twin. Identical twins doesn't necessarily mean you look exactly the same. It just means you come from one, you know, egg or whatever that's split in two, rather than two eggs. Anyway, and you're genetically closer to your twin than anybody is related to anyone else, if that makes sense. Everyone else, their most genetic relative is their mother, apart from identical twins, which is their twin. And I do feel you do have a closer bond. I know that may sound bizarre and weird, but I do believe that's true, and I don't believe them two would have hated each other like that. And the violence, you know, as I said, I've got a twin brother, and we used to get in a lot of trouble and used to fight, but you would never bottle each other and stuff like that. We used to have a lot of physical fights together, but you'd never go weapons, put it that way. Who knows, you know, Ronnie being psychotic and schizophrenic, maybe those bits happened, but for me that went a bit too unrealistic, and I'll be honest, I didn't like their relationship. It seemed like it was more Reggie and Francis and Ronnie on his own, And again, I don't know whether that's true, but that's nothing I've ever seen it ever portrayed like that before. That Reggie was basically on his own with his gang, and Ronnie was with his two mates. And also, they made Ronnie out to look like he was actually special needs sometimes, which again I don't believe was true. But I would say my favourite character in this whole film was definitely Ronnie. Right, my go now then, is it? Right. I've personally always preferred the original Cray Twins film. The relationship in this one is a lot more how I reckon it would be true to life. There's certainly bits in this that aren't realistic or even happened, same as I suspect in Legend, but Legend tends to have a little bit more of what actually really went on and some of the stuff missing in here. I'll tell you another reason why I like this one though. Myself and my twin brother would have actually nearly been in this. So when we was around about 10, I think, we was asked, well, my mother was asked if we wanted to rehearse to be in that film. So yeah, me and Malk actually rehearsed, went to London, did like a bit in front of cameras and everything. Yeah, but I think in the end they picked two actual actors, child actors. So yeah, Weapon Collector and JJR Survival could have been in that film. Again, I know we're not talking about that, but I'll have my little soft spot for that, and that's partly why I would prefer that one over Legend. Don't get me wrong, Legend is a good film, but I preferred the way they did the relationship in The Craze. The issue I have is, as I said, being a twin, I know the true relationship of a twin, and I don't reckon it would have been like they portrayed it in Legend. I may be wrong, as I say. I don't know the whole history of The Craze. I know quite a bit about it. I've read quite a lot. I've watched quite a lot of films and documentaries and that. But yeah, who knows? But I didn't like the way they portrayed the relationship. And it went from 3/4 of the film Reggie acting like he really couldn't care less for Ronnie, which I reckon is bollocks. 10 minutes, oh, suddenly he's my brother, I'll do anything for him, you know, we've got a bond that, you know, goes beyond anything else. And then suddenly, oh, I want to fucking kill you, but I can't. To me, that didn't ring true. As I say, I may be wrong though. But I would definitely say this is a good film. Yeah, definitely a good gangster film. The second best Cray Twins film. And someone younger than me would probably think this one's better, in all honesty, and without the twin experience and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. If I classed the Cray Twins an 8, Legend would be a 7.5, say. It's only a little bit less. It's just I wasn't comfortable with the twin relationship, sadly. It just didn't ring true for me. So yeah, that's my honest opinion on Legend. Very good film. Couple of bits I didn't like, but that's just my personal preference. Overall, very good film. At this point, I would normally say you can vote now for next week's or next time's category, but they've removed the bit to do it. So I may add a thing in the comments for you to say one of the categories. Next week's is not a film though. It's a one-off TV series, 6 30-minute episodes called Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. This is my all-time favourite TV show ever, so make sure you watch it. It's on all 4, probably on YouTube, or buy it on fucking DVD, alright? I hope you enjoyed the video. See you later.